Next weekend is officially our first travel adventure of 2026. And Vicky and I, obviously after a long winter, have some massive cabin fever. And we're heading out for the second annual New Hampshire Maple Syrup Weekend, right here in our own backyard. Not literally our own backyard, but you get the idea. Right now, Vicky is out in the workshop, covered in sawdust, getting her new furniture restoration channel ready to launch. So it's my job to handle the route, the gear, the logistics of our first trip of the year. And there's one massive piece of gear we're not taking with us. The Sprinter, Bertha. If you have a built-out camper van, there's this weird pressure that you have to use it for every single trip. But as we've said before, we're weekend warriors, not full-timers. And we have a strict set of rules for when the van is the perfect tool for the job and when it's just a gigantic snowplow. Today, I'm giving you our honest van versus car daily driver checklist. Here's exactly how we decide to leave the van behind. Rule number one is the most obvious. Are we sleeping in it? Or sleeping, period, on our trip. The Sugar Shack trip is local. It's a one-day adventure. We'll leave early in the morning. We'll be back home by dinner. And the primary function of the Sprinter van, obviously, is to be a bedroom and a kitchen, if you would. If we aren't using it, the bed, driving a 9,000-pound top-heavy van for a day trip is like driving a house when you only need a car. Our daily driver is kind of lucky, an Acura MDX Type S. It has a turbo V6, super handling all-wheel drive, and the bonus, heated massaging seats. When we're navigating our own snowy, muddy New Hampshire back roads in the middle of March, the Acura is actually simply the superior tool. The Sprinter van is built for off-grid living, of course, and really getting off the grid, as I said, but the MDX is built to really kind of crush some of our snowy roads in total comfort. For bouncing quickly between multiple different local Sugar Shacks in one afternoon, Acura wins. Rule number two, the weather versus the water. What do I mean by that? Well, right now it's still freezing here in New Hampshire. We actually had a dusting of snow this morning, and the van is fully winterized. The pipes are blown out, of course, and the tanks are empty. And it's just buttoned up. To take the van next weekend, I would either have to completely de-winterize it, which takes time I don't necessarily have on a Friday night, or run it totally dry without running water. And if we run it dry, we're just basically driving a really expensive, poorly insulated moving truck with a bed in the back. When the ground thaws in a few weeks, the math changes. But in the dead of winter, if the trip doesn't justify the de-winterization process, well, the van has to stay home. Rule number three is logistics and risk. What do I mean by that? Where do we actually park on this adventure? If you've never been to a New England Sugar Shack during Maple Weekend, it is an absolute zoo. You're usually parking in some thawing, muddy dirt field or parallel parking on a shoulder of a tiny, and I mean tiny, New England road. So imagine trying to squeeze a 20-foot long, in our case, 11-foot high roof Sprinter into a line of cars on a muddy shoulder. It's incredibly stressful. You spend more time worrying about clipping a tree branch or getting sideswiped by a tractor than you do actually enjoying the maple syrup, which is the whole point. And here's the reality check. The van is a full custom outside van build. It costs roughly 3 to 4 times what the Acura does. The MDX has the ground clearance we need, the all-wheel drive system to handle those back roads when they're kind of muddy and slick, but it has the turning radius to actually maneuver safely in a cramped farm driveway without risking a massive repair bill on the camper, which we don't want. Part of being a weekend warrior is removing the friction. The goal is to maximize the 2 days you have off after a long work week. If the vehicle makes the weekend more stressful, you brought the wrong tool. So if you're saving up for a van or feeling guilty that yours is sitting in the driveway right now collecting that driveway tax, don't. It's a highly specialized piece of gear, but it doesn't have to be your only piece of gear. We'll be waking the Sprinter up officially in a few weeks for our first overnight trip of the spring. But next weekend, we eat pancakes. We're taking the Acura out for our second annual tour, and we're bringing you guys with us. So make sure you subscribe because our massive New Hampshire Maple Syrup Weekend drops right here on March 29th. If you want to see the kind of chaos we're walking into, check out last year's Sugar Shack video right here. Until then, stay warm, as I like to say, keep wandering.